and we're going to talk a little bit. Jalen Ramsey is a topic that nobody in the sports world has really covered yet. We're breaking new ground. This is going to bring a lot of attention to us, and I'm excited about that. My contention is that Jalen Ramsey is going to be traded within the next 2 weeks. We know what's going on in Jacksonville. It's a disaster down there. Ramsey basically, I don't want to say demands to be traded. It seems like it was more amicable than that, but he asks to be traded. He would prefer to no longer play for the Jaguars. And then it looks like a trade's going to happen immediately following that Thursday night game, which they inexplicably let him play in. Still doesn't make sense to me, but they did. Doesn't happen. Despite the fact that, and I don't know how much of this you heard back in Pennsylvania. I'll be interested to get your take. But there was allegedly a deal done between the Philadelphia Eagles and the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Was there? I know I had seen like some rumors and some inklings of stuff, but I don't know what exactly it is. If so, I'd love to know the details.
Well, details have never been released, at least to my knowledge. But the rumor, the scuttlebutt around the league, is that deal was agreed on that would send Ramsey to Philadelphia, and the Jaguars owner Shahid Khan ixnayed it. He said he thinks they're going to be able to keep Ramsey long term, so he declined to allow the trade to go through.
Huh.
This is who knows whether or not this is 100% accurate or not, but it's certainly interesting. After that, so Ramsey plays, doesn't get traded, and he calls in sick from work on Monday and Tuesday.
It's a veteran move.
Calls in sick. And then he's going to come back, but a back injury pops up, and I can't make it Wednesday or Thursday. I want to be there so bad. And then he's ready. Friday's coming. Oh, I forgot that I'm having a child. I have to go to the birth of my child.
Whoops.
Yeah, oopsie. Oops. Can't believe that one slipped my mind. But he is just... Jalen Ramsey has called out from work for 3 different reasons this week. And it's so unrealistic to believe that they're going to ever find a way to make this happen again. I think that the win that the Jaguars had last week, it bought the Jaguars a little bit of time. But there is a very, very limited clock on this, an absolute ticking clock on getting this deal done. And I think Ramsey's well aware of that. Ramsey and his team, the last thing I will say about this is Ramsey and his team have literally said, we'll let you know when we're ready to come back from this injury. Not the team, not when the team clears him. They'll let you know.
Sounds very Kawhi Leonard-ish.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, listen, of course, there's always going to be guys who go through things like this. We just saw the end of the great Melvin Gordon saga today.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, unfortunately, at the end of the day, the owner has the call, and if there was already a trade in place that got stopped, it tells me that Mr. Khan of the Jaguars ownership doesn't think that this is going to happen. I'd be less surprised if Doug Marrone was the one that was thrown out and Ramsey was the one that was kept, honestly. That'd be an interesting move, to say the least. It'd really give one guy a lot of power. But I think it's a fixable situation. I don't think it's as dire as people want to say. Now, of course, obviously, you're going to see the media narratives and the stories and things like that saying that, playing sick and he's got to go to the birth of his child. But sometimes those things come up, Chris. I don't know what to tell you. They surprise you sometimes out of nowhere.
The birth of your child surprises you out of nowhere. Had no idea this was coming. Didn't even know she was pregnant. Well, this is so weird. This is just so weird.
I mean, they used to do TV shows about that. I didn't know I was pregnant, so who knows?
For Jalen's sake, let's hope that his wife is not the kind of person. We're gonna look this up right now. I'm guessing that Jalen Ramsey's wife or significant other is not someone.
Was not a cast member of that show.
Yeah. I don't know. I didn't do this information to see whether or not he has a wife.
In all seriousness.
Oh no, does not look like she is. She might have 2 kids. Oh, that's Matthew Stafford's wife.
What?
Weird. Yeah, don't ask me why Matthew Stafford's wife is the first thing that comes up on Google image search when you search for Jalen Ramsey's wife.
Probably a trash-talking story. Shout out to Nationals fans talking trash about Bryce Harper's 4-week-old kid. I love
Shout
it.
out.
But yeah, we're bad fans because in the 1960s somebody threw a snowball at a kid playing Santa Claus.
Hey, and we threw batteries at JD Drew.
Yeah, JD Drew deserved that.
Well, that's probably true. Golden Spikes winner, though.
Yeah, good for JD Drew. He had a good career and probably made the right decision not coming to the Phillies.
I agree. Yeah, he would have gotten eaten alive here, especially without ever really turning into that super duper star.
Yeah.
Well, que sera, sera.
Yeah, but back to Jalen Ramsey. Again, I really think it's going to come down to Mr. Khan, and it's going to come down to, him sitting down with him and trying to hash this thing out. And Ramsey's obviously got to be willing to talk to him, but there is definitely a chance that this could blow over. We've seen teams reconcile with guys over and over again. I mean, and in this case, it looks like the Jaguars are at least willing to work with him, willing to I guess make that effort to try to appease their superstar corner. And will it happen? Who knows? But I think we may see this bleed throughout the season versus a quick trade that would. I think I heard a rumor that we would send Zach Ertz, which I do not believe.
Well, the bigger issue here is that it doesn't look like Ramsey's willing to negotiate with them anymore. He's taking power into his own hands, Kawhi Leonard-esque, as you put it, by saying, hey, I'll be back when I'm back, fellas. Either you can play without me or you can trade me and get some value. He's trying to force their hand, and he's got a ton of power, and I think we both know that. This is a guy who, and we talk about the legitimacy of these lists all the time, but in 2018, he was the number 17 player on the top 100 list on NFL Network. Last year, number 27, in large part because the Jaguars just weren't as good a team last year as they were in 2018. This is the best corner in football, I would say, and I don't know that it's particularly close. He's a game changer on defense. Now, he has to be in the right scheme. I think people forget about that. He needs to be playing man. He needs to be at the line. He needs to be allowed to be physical, play bump. But this is a guy who changes your defense. And especially in a situation like Philadelphia, where this defensive line has 1 sack through 3 games.
Rough.
Yeah, rough is correct. And a lot of that has to do with the fact that Ron Darby was not and now is not even in the lineup to allow receivers to catch passes quickly and get open quickly and gain separation quickly so the defensive line doesn't have the chance to get any pressure. In terms of the Zach Ertz for Jalen Ramsey trade, I want to get give me your thoughts before I give you mine.
My thoughts on the Eagles secondary and if
On
the
thoughts on a potential Zach Ertz Jalen Ramsey trade.
I mean, what Ertz gives you as a pass catcher is huge, but Ertz certainly lacks the full all-aroundness of a tight end from a blocking standpoint. He's really not a blocker by any stretch of the imagination. However, there's a comfortability with Ertz in this offense, and the production that he had last year, breaking the single-season record in catches. I mean, that certainly plays a role here. And do you want to remove a major piece of your offense? It's clear to me that Dallas Goedert isn't ready. You watch that game last Sunday, and he's dropping catches. He's getting hurt in pregame. Do you want to limit yourself to Dallas Goedert and I don't even know who the third backup is because I know we got rid of Richard Rodgers.
Alex Ellis.
That sounds like a kid I grew up playing basketball with. Like that's nothing to me.
That is some really good commentary. Would you this comes down to, would you rather have, I don't know, what do we think, Ertz is the second or third best tight end in football?
Yeah, he's easily top 3. I mean, I think he's better than Kittle and probably right under Kelsey, so I'd say 2.
Okay, so he's not 1. He's in him or Kittle 2, 3, regardless of how you want to stack them. Do you want the second or third best tight end in football or the number 1 cornerback in football?
But I don't necessarily know if you're going to play the scheme that's going to make him the number 1 guy, then sure, I'd certainly have to consider it hard. I'd really have to be like, we can replace Ertz, Goddard, give him more of a role, see what happens. Goddard also can block, so you can give different looks.
Yeah.
I mean, it's something I definitely wouldn't just be like, are you serious? No way. I'd probably at least consider looking into it.
I would do it in a heartbeat. The only way I wouldn't do it is if you're still giving up a first-round pick. The first-round pick would be off the table if Ertz is on the table. Would I give up a 2? Probably. Would I give up a 2 and a 3 or a 4? Yeah, still probably. But I don't hold the same reservations you do about Dallas Goedert. What last week showed me wasn't that he wasn't ready, it was that he was injured and that he wasn't ready to be back in the lineup just yet. And I'm afraid that they rushed him last week, just as I'm afraid they're rushing Alshon Jeffrey this week. And let's hope that doesn't blow up in our faces.
Well,
God.
To me, this game against the Packers, it's not do or die, but it's certainly getting close to that line when you drop 2 very winnable games. And I think you sort of have to press a little bit. The defensive line only having 1 sack is preposterous. It's actually absurd.
Well, the biggest problem is that in all likelihood, if you lose this game tonight, you need to beat Dallas twice to get in the playoffs, and that's going to be tough sledding for this team.
Is there any reason why the Eagles constantly have to have a corner that just absolutely stinks? And
Constantly is not fair. We were spoiled for so long.
I'm talking about since the Bradley Fletcher era of Eagles corners, we have just had toast at outside. It's been unbelievable. And we were spoiled. I'm sorry for cutting you off. We absolutely were. We had years and years of excellent corner play.
The Eagles transitioned from Bobby Taylor, Troy Vincent, and Al Harris to the Lito, Shepard, Sheldon Brown groups. And that was it was great. And it allowed the defensive line to play, and it allowed the linebackers to make plays. The corners aren't there right now, but Jalen Ramsey plus Sidney Jones plus Avonte Maddox, that's workable for me. I can live with that. I think Rasul Douglas, as I always have, is going to be a free safety or a strong safety, not a cornerback long term, and I think that's where he should be playing. But you give me Ramsey, Jones, and Maddox, and I feel comfortable with that in the back end.
So, yeah, I mean, I can certainly agree with you. Adding Jalen Ramsey to that group definitely makes a huge difference. It takes some of the pressure off some of these other guys and helps the rest of your defense. I worry about if you are going to deal Ertz for him, how badly it affects your offense, how badly it takes away, arguably Carson's favorite target. That's my biggest issue. He spread the ball around a lot more so far this year, but Ertz always seems to be that safety net for him.
Well, the other interesting element to this, too, is that dealing Ertz is beneficial cap-wise for us because rather than adding $19 million in salary for, Jalen Ramsey next year, it's really only 10 or so, given, Ertz is making almost 8 next year, 8 the year after, plus, bonuses and stuff. So it allows for a little more flexibility moving forward with all of that. I would do it. I trust Goedert. I think Goedert's upside is, and again, not to fall victim of hyperbole, but I think his upside is top 5 to 8 tight end in football. I think he's that good. I think he is. I like the versatility that the offense can have. Theoretically, we haven't really seen it to this point this year with Ertz and Goedert in the game at the same time. But I think that more opportunities for Goedert is only going to help the run game. I think he also has equally outstanding hands for a tight end. Maybe he's not the downfield playmaker that Zach Ertz is. Maybe he's not the route running technician that Zach Ertz is. But I think the hands are there. I don't think it's going to hinder the offense too much. And the upside for the defense is just, I couldn't pass on it.
Yeah, you certainly have a valid argument. It's upgrading a premier position on defense that you desperately need because you haven't had a solid corner package. Even when the Eagles won the Super Bowl, their corners still left a lot to be desired.
You agreeing with me is as good a time as any to wrap up this segment. I think we're in agreement here. Jalen Ramsey, an Eagle, within 2 weeks. We'll take a quick break, and we'll be right back.